Okay, you can ask again. So
I can ask again.
yes.
Okay. Like what are the profile, ISECly speaking, that are the most needed in France?
Mm-hmm. So in terms of internationals and locals, right?
Yeah.
So the idea, like for me, is better if I have more people who know really well the reality. So it's better to have locals. But there are some positions which are okay for me to have internationals, and these would be mostly talent management, operations, so CXY, CXP, BXP is also fine, and OPS could work. It's like really finance and PD is better to have locals, like regarding like language. And as I was saying in the application, there are some positions which require to have a certain level of French.
Yeah. Okay.
It answers your question?
Yes, it does. Yes, it is. Yes, it does.
Good. Kauta, you have something specific to ask? Or?
Okay, so I was going to ask the same question as Nazim. I was going to ask you, I mean, if you have some preference for like, are there some specific positions that you're intending to welcome internationals for them? And as you said, since you've talked about talent management and operations, would you likely to be having like an international that is coming from an entity that is quite known for growth mindsets in order to boost France' number of exchanges? And in order to do so, I mean, can you more likely talk to us about the different problems that AIESEC in France in general is facing in terms of exchanges? I mean, why aren't there, I mean, much exchanges when specifically what are the main problems that block AIESEC in order to boost the number?
Yeah. So as you say, like the thing is that technically we don't have really reasons not to grow. I mean, we're like just look at the situation of our country. We're economically really stable. We are a big country, so the market is huge. Lot of students and everything. But according to me, for not growing as much as we could, is because the culture is not the best culture that we could have to grow. So for me, what is the most important, and as I was saying in my application, is to firstly change this culture in terms of behaviors in order to grow better. So yeah, I guess that I could say that for me, it's very important that the profiles I am looking for my team is people who have, as you were saying, growth mindset, who are really data driven, and who could bring this change in the French culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Okay. Like you just said about its follow-up question about like it's not the best culture. Is it because like the member in general are not focused on goals and execution, or is it the relationship between the MC and the LCs that is not good? They don't like that the MC make goals and plans for them.
Mm-hmm.
Is it first or second, or maybe both?
Okay. So regarding firstly the relationship between the MC and the LCs, I would say that for me, of course, it could be improved. It can always be improved, but I would actually consider it as one of our strengths. Yeah, like it can be improved really, but we don't have big issues with LCs. Most of the time, we can work together. It's a bit challenging sometimes to engage like the 21 LCs we have with the national projects, but the relationship is quite good. What was the first point again?
Second was if the members like at LC level or any level of the organization are not focused on execution and numerical goals.
Yeah. I would say that one of the weaknesses at the local level is that people don't really know how to plan. So for them, it's very difficult to have like really regular goals, have these behaviors and mindset of tracking on a regular basis how they're growing in terms of exchanges. I know some EBs. Only the LCP knows the goal. The rest of the VPs don't know the goal. So that this is a bit problematic indeed to grow. And like I would say it's like mostly the first part of your question that is something that we need to work on.
All right. Okay, good. Good for me for now.
Okay.
What about the others?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like someone else?
Oh, I don't know, Francisco, Kautar.
Kautar?
Yeah. Okay, so for the members of AIESEC in France in general, I mean, I've read in your application that it's more like they have this excuse mindset. And as you just said, you said that even there are some problems when it comes to planning, and the goals aren't clear to everyone. So I just sort of understood that the members don't feel this belonging to they don't feel this sort of belonging to the entity in order for them, and they don't feel that their entities need them in order to accomplish the goals that aren't even clear enough for them. In your strategy, how are you exactly planning to sort of end this out in order to partially change the mindset of the current membership of AIESEC in France?
So there are several ideas that I had. As I was explaining, for example, for me, if we want to grow as one strong entity, it would be good if we could all have the same vision, meaning not having the MC who has his team vision, then all the LCs who have their different LCs vision, but having one vision for the entity. I am planning on engaging a lot more DLCPs next year because this year we have a steering team of, we used to have 3, now 2 LCPs. So I really want to focus on this culture also of having the steering team more engaged, the LCPs more engaged, eventually also creating sub-commissions of LCPs for finance, membership, whatever. I also really want to develop this mindset and this incentive of going in exchanges for the membership, because I also believe that one of the reasons why they don't believe as much in what we do in AIESEC is because they've never experienced the products themselves. As you know, AIESEC is not that strong in France, so it's hard for them to see the impact that we can have on one EP when you only send people abroad. You know, it's different than receiving them. So since ICX or CXP is not as strong in France, even though we're growing, I believe that one of the solutions would be to really emphasize, push IXP, and also install some measures to boost the participation of our French plenary in international conferences, be it ITTTs, Eurexpro, Euroco, whatsoever, or even simply applying for FASI positions abroad, so that they have more this mindset of, okay, this is the kind of impact that AIESEC can have in the world, and they feel more connected with the why of AIESEC.
I have another question. For example, in the local levels, there aren't some local conferences organized in the local level in order to engage more the memberships? I mean, in AIESEC in France?
So apart from the induction conferences that we have twice a year, because we have only 2 recruitments, there is no local conferences organized.
Okay.
So
yeah, they just have LCMs, but this is not a conference.
all right. Can I ask? Yeah, and like you said that you have in France 21 LCs. That's impressive.
Including the conference. So it's not really.
Do they like? I want to know first the relationship between them. Do they see other LCs as competitor or like partners in achieving higher goal?
Okay, so I think that there is this atmosphere of competition a bit between the LCs. Sometimes it's in a good way, because it really
way.
them to make more exchanges. Sometimes it's not so much in a good way, because it can create some tensions. But I mean, these are the advantages and disadvantages of competition. But we also have some good case practices. For example, we have these 2 LCs, Lyon and Grenoble, who always organize induction together. We also have some LCs in Paris that are close and try to organize LCMs together sometimes as well. But in overall, like when you see them at national conferences, they're fine. Like there is no specific tensions. Like, okay, this guy is from this LC and this one is from this one. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Follow-up question for this. I want to know: do they live in different realities? Like, is there LCs that cannot compete with other LCs because of their situation, like the city or the membership, or because they are new?
Well, the thing is that currently, I would say they could all compete against each other regarding their market. But in the long term, you guys have to know that we have some LCs that are city-based and others that are business schools-based. So depending on how they can expand their market, the business school-based might be a bit limited in their development.
Okay.
Also because we have Reims, Bordeaux, and Paris, which count more than, like, in Bordeaux and Reims you have 2 LCs in each city, and in Paris you have 4 or 5. If you have one that is a bit in the south. So in these 2 cities, it's a bit more competitive in terms of markets. So this could affect their chance to compete against each other.
All right. Waiting for the others.
Carota?
Okay, so for the executive boards of the entities of AIESEC in France, would you assess as a previous MCPe talent management that they had this this good leadership experience during their terms? I'm talking about the previous executive boards. I mean,
okay, so we're the timeline of the EB in France is about the same as the one of the MC. So they start the 1st of July and finish the end of June. So now it's the middle of their term.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought it was from February to February.
Oh, we didn't finish.
Okay.
About what Joyce Coulter said, do you think it's a good thing to have the same timeline with the MC and LCs? Like it's something helpful for
Yeah.
the strategy.
Like, of course, it has its advantages and disadvantages. At the moment, before switching to February, my goal would be to align them at least with the MC. Why? Because otherwise we have 1 month when they start that term with the old MC, and then 1 month after they start with the new MC. So it's a bit, it's not good. It's not really good. Both for them because they don't know who to refer to, and also in terms of planning, because what I would prefer, I took some notes the other day regarding this. It was to collect the input of the EB elect regarding what they would like to have in terms of goals for the following year, Then we consolidate, we do the MC planning before we start the term. And at the beginning of the term, we do the planning with them, the local plannings. Because what happens at the moment is that they try to do their LC planning in June. Then they don't see each other during the summer because it's a bit dead in France during the summer since we don't have ICX really. And then they get back together end of August and they start their term. Meaning that in 2 months, they're not doing anything, they didn't get any experience, and they forgot most of what they did for their planning. So it would make more sense that the MC does his planning before in July, and then we help them beginning of August to do their planning. So to answer your questions, before moving to February, it would be good to align us all together. The thing, like, to answer your question more deeply, if we would change to February, I think it would be good to be globally aligned in terms of global timeline, of course. Thing I would mostly be afraid of would be that it affects even more the pipeline. Because at the moment, the pipeline in France is not really good at the local level. And having a term half a year school-wise, I would be afraid that people would not apply as much for an EB position. Yeah.
And like, do you have a numerical goal for exchange? Something to be a number.
No, like I didn't.
Or
Of course, sorry.
I didn't hear you.
Non, je t'ai coupé, du coup.
Oh, d'accord. So, I wanted to know if there is a numerical goal to be achieved by the end of your term in the exchange.
89.
Your future term, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't plan any goal because for me, it's something that should be planned as a team. But of course, we should aim for higher than what will be done this year. But I didn't decide on anything on my own.
Like no idea.
Okay, so of course it's going to really depend on what we achieve this year. It's also going to depend on how confident we're with the strategy and with the engagement of the LCPs at the conference in May with the LCPs elect. This year the plan is to do 1,500 exchanges. So it would be good to aim for higher. No knowing that term 16, 17, in France, we managed to have about 800 exchanges.
800.
Yes. And most of it in outgoing exchanges.
Outgoing. All right.
Kauta, t'as une question?
Oui. Okay, it's concerning. I mean, it's not related to exchange and stuff, but it's more like, what kind of profiles you would like to have in your team?
In my team?
Yeah.
As I was saying in my application, for me, it's very important to have people who are selfless, who will. Okay, the idea for me is very important that the people who are in my team are firstly in MC France before being MCVP, I don't know what. So they have to be selfless in terms of, okay, I am ready on giving up on the strategy I've been working for the 6 past months if this is for the well-being of the entity. I know that ego can be a very big problem also in teams. So I know myself, this is also something I need to be working on, but it's important to be also very well self-aware about it and be willing to improve. Also, I'm looking for people who are ambitious, who are very result-oriented, because otherwise it's a bit more complicated to grow. Who also have empathy and have maturity. And for me, it's more important the values and the behaviors of the candidates rather than their skills, because I believe that the skills can be learned a lot faster than learning a behavior to adapt in a team.
Okay.
Other questions?
Yeah, for me, if Kautar doesn't have follow-up.
No, I don't.
It's about, because I had a chat with Hamza just before you. It's about IGV.
Yes.
Because you just said that to engage more the member more on OGV, they have to know which kind of experience they are providing. So, what are your idea about IGV in France? Because it can make AIESEC aware of the impact they are making, and more than IGT, because IGT you put that person into its company and you never see them again, contrary to IGV, which is more human.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Do you think that we can do IGV in France?
Yeah, okay. I agree with all your points. Now, to be really strategic, I don't know if you saw in my application, but for me, I really want to focus on focus next year, meaning to not have too many products. Products number one would be OGV, because it's our strength. It is what is working. We have this mindset of OGX, and it's the easiest for our LCs at the moment to sell and to grow. Second focus product, if we can call it focus product because it's the second one, is IGT. Why? Because we have the reality to have IGT in France. We have the resources, we have the companies, we're really attractive country for this, and it is a sustainable product, whereas IGV is not sustainable. So what would happen for me in terms of IGV for next year is I will not prevent the LCs who want to run IGV to run IGV like this year, but the focus will be on IGT for a matter of sustainability and focus.
All right.
And regarding the human side, as I was explaining in my previous answer, the idea would be to boost outgoing exchanges for our members, so to boost IXP.
Okay, good. Great.
Other questions? Welcome, Matthias. If you have questions, you can also ask. Nazim, t'as d'autres questions? Que t'es chaud.
En fait, I would want to know with the promotion, is like AIESEC in France more focused on the offline campaign or the digital campaign?
Okay, this is a good question. Okay, so this is a really good question. We used to have until last year, Else is running their online campaigns because they all have their Facebook page. And this year we tried to merge all of the Facebook pages. We're still struggling with 2 LCs out of the 20 of the 21. But the idea is that digital marketing is run by the national office to ensure the brand alignment. And at the local office, they should only focus on offline promotion.
Okay.
So to answer your question from the national level, of course, like this is where all the digital marketing is happening, but on the local level, it should be like offline. And we're a little bit struggling with this because the LCs are really relying on this digital presence that is going to increase their visibility on the social networks, and they don't see, or they don't really still don't know how they can attract as much with the off-ground promotion.
Okay.
But we're getting there.
Feeling like my turn. Feeling like my pastor. Great. Okay. It's same follow-up. Like, do you in term of OGV, do you work on the winter peak in AIESEC in France?
Yeah. So what was happening is that until last year, the idea was to focus on OGT for the winter peak and OGV for summer peak. OGT, winter peak, and OGV for summer peak. But since this year we decided that we should focus on the products and not on the peaks, we decided to do OGV the whole time, even though we get about 90% of our results for the summer peak. So the idea would be 90%.
90% from the
peak is almost not existing in France yet.
Actually, no, I didn't hear the last sentence. This is why I was repeating. 90% of your result from winter peak.
During summer peak.
German, okay.
Yeah, summer peak. So the way I see that we could use this is that we focus a lot more on education and trainings for the first semester to make sure that they are as operational as possible for the second semester.
Okay.
And it's also like winter peak is a very tough moment in our entity because that's when the motivation is low for the people because they work a lot, but they don't see the results. So in terms of, mindset, motivation is a very hard peak. Winter peak.
Like waiting for the others, since I have 3 other questions, but I will wait for some other people.
Okay, I guess we can go ahead.
Okay, since you're MCPe TM, I want to know like how the members see AIESEC in France. The members, not LCV, do they see it as just something they do on the side, and they should not work on it, that much, or they will take it a little bit seriously?
Well, of course, it's hard to generalize. Pas si ça se dit. But yeah, I would say the majority is taking it more as maybe a hobby. They don't take it as personal, again, because I believe that they don't feel this personal connection to the why of AIESEC. They don't see the impact. Like, it's again the same thing, that they should either go on exchanges or have IGB. But yeah. No, it's fine.
I will not talk about AGB anymore. It's a cursed word.
It's not like, it would be my dream to have IGB in France, like really. But then you also need to be realistic.
Got you. And like, I want to know, like, at the end of your term, how do you want AIESEC funds to be seen on the international level?
Okay. I want to go on the scene and get global awards, nothing less. No, like, I know, like, of course I would love that. More seriously,
we all love awards. Awards are cool.
All of the awards. No, I would like to see, especially, a huge growth in IGT, because I believe that we have a huge potential there that was never properly exploited. I don't know how to say. Like, we never really used the potential that we have in terms of IGT before. And compared to the other countries, I think that we could really make a difference there and be recognized for this. But in the long term, I would also like to see a growth in operations thanks to a change of mindset and culture. Because, for example, this is what happened in Peru with Vinny when he was MCPe there, if I understood right. This guy managed to change the culture and the mindset of his entity, and now they're growing as hell. So I know that this is going to be a long-term process, but this is how I would like to impact my entity. And in terms of more short-term results, it would be, as I was saying, an award or a recognition, or just seeing the huge growth in IGT. Other questions?
No more question for now for me.
Thanks, God. Kauta?
I don't have any more questions so far, because I guess that Nazim asked everything.
You're welcome.
Thanks, by the way. Okay, so what's your sort of the biggest fear or the biggest thing you don't want to face during your term?
That's a really good question. Like, for me, it was, as I was saying, also in my application, like, I don't want not to, like, for me, of course, I really want to grow in terms of exchanges, but the most important is the switch of culture and mindset. Because I want to think in the long term for my entity. And I know that this is the biggest challenge that everyone fears, because how can you change a culture? There is not like an application or a theory that tells you like A plus B equals change of culture. It's the mindset, it's the behaviors. And for me, like, this is really something I don't want to fade next year. And regarding this, it would also be to have my team that falls apart, because like there is nothing you can do alone. You need to be strong with your team, to be united, because this is also what is going to give the strength to the entity to grow and change its mindset. If you have an MC team that is fucked up, that is splitting, that have people who are quitting, there is no support. There is nothing that is going to lead the entity. So yeah.
Okay, I guess that's all for me. Yeah.
And like if the team experience is going to be good for the MC, everything is going to follow.
Okay.
The change of culture, the results, the pipeline. Yeah. That's it. Okay, thank you, Kavita, for your questions. Nazim, maybe in the meantime?
No.
No? Okay. Matthias, if you have anything, you can write it down. Francisco, I don't know. No. All right, guys. So then I guess I will close the space here. I know that some of you approached me before to have consultancy space with me. I told you that you should wait for the consultancy, like this 2 days of consultancy space, to save up time. But if there are any of your questions that were not answered, of course, feel free to approach me or the rest of my team. And if you also have specific questions regarding the process, don't hesitate. And yeah, that's it. If you're willing to apply, I wish you good luck. And if not, still good luck.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
guys. Have a nice
Thanks
day.
a lot. You too. Bye.
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 Bye-bye, everyone.